good morning everybody from Bali. We are in, let's say, the very few rice fields that are still rice fields and not hotels and buildings. Anyway, I'd like to give you a local flower. There you go, just for you on this beautiful day. The reason why I'd like to give you this flower is not because I've been programmed to, because a mainstream tells me to, but because I just feel like you deserve a flower today. So there you go, a flower from my heart to yours. There you go, beautiful. This is one of the local flowers here. It's so cute, so beautiful. So what you're looking at in front of you is the beginning of a rice field. So this would be called the baby rice, and in a short time these rice will grow very tall and it will look so green and beautiful. But today, right now, this particular month in Bali, most of the fields are let's say a bit of a mess. A lot of the times the ducks are paddling in them, creating fertilizer and getting it all ready. And it's a labour of love, and you can easily argue that for the amount of time and effort, that is put into just this single rice field here, this one right in front of us, you can understand why the temptation of selling it off to a foreigner, to hire the land, to lease the land, you can really understand, because it really is a labour of love. And what you get from a field in terms of how much you could get for renting this plot of land, well, you know, if it was your land, what would you do? You know, have you got enough money to survive? So you could probably get for this piece of land, I don't know, maybe 5,000 a year for this piece of land for renting it. 4,000. How much do you think you're getting rice? Maybe 1,000, a couple of thousand if you're lucky. I'm not so sure even if that. The reason why I'm speaking like this is because I have a couple of acres of land with 300 mango trees. 300 mango trees, and this year our yield brought us in about 7,000 euros. So I'm talking about this little one tiny piece here, and this rice, it's not mangoes. So, you know, you can understand to a degree why the whole of this place is just becoming a one big building. Bali is becoming a building. It's a commercial building. It's a commercial development site. And if the government was really true to who they were, they would recognise that straight away. And what they would do is compensate the farmers and give them money to keep the land as it is. But no, the government is there to be corrupt, is there to steal, and is there to allow permits so that they can make wads of money from allowing these permits. And then it always goes back to central government, where the central government says, well, we never issued that permit, and whoever issued that permit should go to prison. They go to prison, and then the person who's got the property and has got those permits also goes to prison. And that's exactly what's just happened here to one of my acquaintances, friends. He's in prison for 5 years. He got, as far as I'm aware, he got all his permits, but the permits weren't they were from local government, from council government. The same thing happens in Spain. So it's a worldwide corrupt mafia organisation. That's what government is. It's the biggest mafia organisation in the world. But anyway, that said, welcome everybody. Just a little bit of history of a piece of rice field land and why they're all getting concreted over and buildings are put on. Well, it's one aspect of it. I'm sure there's more. I wish you a lovely day. Today we're going to talk about, I guess, something that I've kind of changed the whole of my perception and understanding of life. From a guy who worked as an auctioneer and became a healer and started to understand the nature of reality, and that we do live in an electrical construct. It's all, I mean, the one time I remember speaking to my first shaman that I sat with and went through a cleanse, he said everything's just an illusion, and I never really truly understood what that meant, but I laughed like everything's an illusion, it's all bullshit, is it? That's my way of thinking as a Yorkshire lad. What, everything's bullshit, it's all an illusion, nothing's real. And then everything changed when I had my first out-of-body experience. There's so many different words for it, you know, depending on how dense you are. If you're a dense person, then you might embrace the word remote viewing. That's a dense way to look at it. You can speak to maybe, you know, science and people. You can use that word and maybe they'll consider it. Well, I'm talking about out-of-body experience. I'm talking astral travel. I'm talking connecting to source, connecting, and not HP or tomato or Worcester. I'm talking about knowing who you truly are. And unfortunately, guys, no matter how hard you try looking for it, getting on a motorbike in Bali, eat, pray, love energy, thinking you're going to find true love and everything's going to be wonderful, the only place you'll ever find the truth and understanding of anything is when you leave the body, when you actually leave this construct. Now, it's a double-edged sword, really, because people generally base things on a one world view when anything's being said. So the biggest mind mess is people saying the only time you'll understand anything, the only time you'll feel anything is when you look within. Everything that you've got is within. Well, it is, but what people don't tell you is that you have to go within to leave without. You've got to get outside of this prison body to understand who you truly are, where you come from, and what reality really is. And like I said, this was 20 years ago for me. I was 38 years old. All I did was eat, drink, sleep, and work. I was called the Scarlet Pimpernel because I would never stop and talk to anybody longer than 2 or 3 minutes. And when I did, I was busy thinking about where I should be, not where I am. So I was definitely not somebody who lived in the moment. And I think that's the construct that we live in. It's meticulously created by an extraterrestrial energy that I believe that knows exactly how to enslave the human being in the way of self-prisoning your consciousness. That is who you truly are. We've come to understand in this world that we are our mouth, our ears, our eyes, our thoughts, our actions, but that's not true at all. The real you that I see as a healer when I heal you is incredible. I see your energy, I see the energy. And what is energy? Energy is the source consciousness, the drop in the ocean that you're from. And that beautiful drop of spirit, of soul, of consciousness that you are, tells me everything, because energy doesn't lie, your soul doesn't lie. I know who you are. And that's why so many people came to me and said, I'm done, I'm finished, I can't cope with this life, it's terrible and everything's going wrong. And I used to just smile because I knew. And it wasn't because I was psychic, it was just I could feel you, and I knew where you were going, and I knew where you were, and I knew what had happened in your past. And I smiled because I thought, you've got such a beautiful life ahead of you. Nobody really believed that at the moment. They thought I was full of shit. Oh, you're only saying that to make money. I'm like, no, I know where you're going and I can see. And what I used to do is give glimpses of the future. And I write it in my book. Some of the greatest stories where, you know, you will meet a guy or you will meet a woman and this guy has got 3 dots in his eyes, right? Or is wearing, you know, he's wearing an old-fashioned outfit with an old pocket watch, and they'd look at me as if I was freaking crazy. In fact, one woman actually walked out. And then a few months later, I'd just come downstairs and I just finished a lovely reading with a lady. And this woman was stood at the desk talking to, at the time we'd sold the shop. So my wife, then when I was married, she wasn't in the shop, and it was, Jesus Christ, what's her name? I can see her face, but I can't. Anyway, she bought my shop. She was one of my clients and she bought my shop. And she said, I'll buy it only if you stay in the shop upstairs, because I had a reading room and healing room upstairs. Bianca, if you're watching, Bianca, hello. Anyway, she's not in the shop anymore. She's a real estate, she's a big high-flying real estate lady, which I knew she would be. But it was nice of her to buy the shop, and it helped us out at that time as well. So anyway, going back, she was talking to this lady downstairs. This lady stopped and looked at me. And they both stopped and looked at me. And my client paid for a consultation, time with me, and she left. And then this lady looked at me. She said, "I just want to apologise." Now, I can't remember my clients that well. I very rarely remember anybody because I'm in the moment and I'm not thinking and I don't hold on to anything. It just comes and goes. So I'm like, oh, all right. And she's then trying to tell me something. She said, "I'm sorry, I walked out." And I'm like, oh. And then I thought, oh, yeah, somebody did walk. I remember, yeah, you walked out. And she said, "I'm so sorry." And I said, "I don't know what I did, sorry. I'm really sorry that you walked out." She says, "No, it's me who's sorry." And she says, "I can't believe it. I'm here now telling Bianca exactly what happened." So it ended up that she didn't go out often, and she was totally heartbroken because her boyfriend had cheated on her over like 10 years or something like that. She'd only found out. So yeah, I thought she walked out because, I don't know, she was just pissed at everything. And anyway, she goes on to tell me, which was really quite fascinating. She said, "You told me that I'd meet somebody with 3 dots in his eyes, but," she said, you mentioned somebody in an old-fashioned suit and waving an old-fashioned watch." And she said, "My friends contacted me asking me to go out," and I said, "I'm not going anywhere. I don't want to go out." I was down and depressed. She says, "But I made the effort to go out." And she said, "What I didn't realise is that my friends didn't tell me, but we were going to a fancy dress party in Marbella." And she said she looked across the room and the guy looked at her and he walked over to her waving. He was Charlie Chaplin in a Charlie Chaplin suit, waving a pocket watch. And she looked in his eyes and he'd got an extra black bit in his eyes. And she said she nearly fell on the floor. And they were together now. So these are some of the things. And I'm not saying this out of ego. I don't give a shit about ego. It wasn't my brilliance or seeing. Anybody can do that. Anybody can do it if they work hard enough to do it. My point being is that when I sit with you and you're feeling down and upset and you think that the world's ended and you don't know where to go, what to do, where to turn, I just smile and I see that everything's going to be fine. I know you're going to be fine, and you need dusting off. You need cleaning. You need cleansing. You need a bit of a healing session to get rid of your past mind's thoughts that have caused the negative energy in your mind. And when you've cleaned that away, you get up and you feel inner peace. You feel more healed. And we talked about this last night, that I believe we have parasites that need to be cleared too. And in the healing process, there is a frequency that I believe kills parasites, or at best, or at worst, stuns them or dumbs them down or stops them from causing any issue to you for a good long while. So I know who you are. I know what you've been through. You're no different from anybody else. We all go through this construct with emotion. We all fall. We all get back up. A lot of us go through a lot more emotions than others, but each soul that I meet, their emotion, their falling, their experience is equal to anybody else's, no matter how bad it is, no matter how difficult it is, they're all equal. When you're looking from an outside perspective, you can say, well, shit, that person's a lot worse off than you. Yes, when you look at it from that perspective, from an outside, but an inside perspective, we all go through pain and we all feel it the same way, whether it's just a little thing or whether it's a huge thing. The only time we really truly understand our experience and when we measure it is when we've been through many experiences, and that's when our mind construct tells us which is the worst experience, but they're all experiences. And it's a fascinating subject, and it's a fascinating life that we live, and it really is incredible. But my point being about all of this, going back to the original topic, was you can only truly understand yourself when you leave your body, because the real you is only you when you leave the construct and the prison body. Now, I don't want you to think, and I don't want you to go away and kill yourself because you think that the body is a prison, but it's a prison because it's been created that way by outside influences, which are poison foods, which are really, really, really bad frequencies and energies, which are demonic and attachments, and there's so many different things, creams that you rub on yourself, and on and on and on it goes until your body becomes itself a prison. The body can't breathe. You're rubbing, you're not rubbing coconut oil on yourself when you're in the sun. You're rubbing suntan lotion, which is basically clogging your pores, so you can't breathe. And you have to learn to breathe, and the biggest organ is your pores. You have to learn to breathe all the time. So when you're rubbing shit on yourself, when you're spraying perfumes all over yourself, which a lot of them are toxic, when you're putting, face masks on, all this makeup, and it's just another reason why we become imprisoned in the body. We become imprisoned in the body because we look outside of the external world and we have fear. Fear is the biggest prison for our consciousness. We're trapped when we're in fear. You cannot heal when you're in fear. A healer can't heal you if you are in fear. You can't heal your body when you're in fear. You certainly can't astral project when you're in fear. You can't leave this construct. So very few people actually truly understand it. A lot of people bullshit about astral travel. A lot of people talk out of their arse and want to sound a healer, or they want to sound a spiritual person. They talk out of their arse. They haven't astral traveled at all. They have no understanding of it. They just made it up in the sense of, oh, I did that. No, you didn't do it. Because I know when you astral travel, because you would not be just talking like that. You would be out of breath. You would be in a state of, what the just happened there? It would take you about a year to process it. It really is something that is so profound, so very few people even understand it. They read about it, they talk about it, but it's hard. It's not easy. And some people have to train very hard, like I did, and even I struggled at times, and I kept getting pulled back into my body, because I want, if you understand it, it's like you're fighting with your body, and your body pulls you back in because you can't believe this is happening, and then you go through that stupid moment where you don't want it to end, so it frigging ends. Anyway, I could go on about astral travel forever, but the point being is, if you've ever understood astral travel, you understand what this world is about, and you have a much deeper understanding of everything, because your consciousness knows everything. So when you've had that experience, then it's a bit like when you have a near-death experience, everything changes because you realize what life is and how delicate. Anytime I want to talk about something beautiful, So when it's so delicate, when it's so short-lived, this life, when it's so hey, them bad boys know how to stop something beautiful, Maybe it's because you're on the side of a road, you plonker, Bajerski. Yeah, you're right. But how come it was so quiet when I was talking just then and then coming to something really beautiful? Anyway, it is. It's just a coincidence, you silly Yorkshire fool. So there you go. Anyway, I can't remember what I was saying. But yeah, the brief experience that, yeah, like when you have a near-death experience, when you've been at the very edge of death, when you've had cancer and it's now in remission, you have a different outlook on life. It's not the same as it used to be, which means that it's our experience that determines our outlook on life. And isn't it funny that our outlook on life only really changes when we have a near-death experience, when something so dramatic happens? Why is that? Why can't it just happen when we're happy? And I think it should. I think we've been so imprisoned that the only time something really does change is when something so bad happens. I don't think that's what it was meant to be when we came here. I think we were meant to be free from our bodies, to be able to sit and meditate and leave our bodies and go back to the spirit world. I speak of one thing that I don't know how many other people speak about it, because I don't listen to other people, because it dilutes what I say, and I just know what I talk about. I don't like to repeat other people's information because I have no clue. But one thing I do know is that when you sleep, there is definitely a point where we leave our body, and that is the time that we reconnect, or we re-energize, our battery life connects to our home world, and we become energized again when we wake up. Sometimes we can't leave the body because of certain reasons. I've mentioned this before. Not all of us now, and less people are able to leave this body because of poisons and all of the military industrial complex, CERN, HARP, DARPA, all of those dark ops that have been trying to understand how to imprison the soul so it doesn't leave the body when we sleep. They've done a good job, and they're doing a good job to this day. So it's a very deep subject, but the one thing that is the answer to everything is that you have to look after your body. You have to take care of this body, and so it doesn't become a prison. You have to learn to clear your body. You'll have to learn to go back to nature. You have to stop putting on evil made products that are causing your body harm. So your body doesn't have that ability to be in balance, so that you can't meditate and you can't astral travel, because your body is just working on trying to fix all the poisons out of your body and heal you. And if you've got fear, that's a constant energy that you're creating. So your body's little fish are trying to clean that away. Well, you can't clear fear away, but they are cleaning the after effect of your fear, which is negative energy. So you have millions of fish in your body that are constantly cleaning negative energy. When you are constantly in your mind projecting negative energy because of fear, worries, what ifs, what's going to happen now, it's all going to go wrong, little old me, I'm not good enough, I'm not worthy, you are creating negative energy. So you will never experience the true meaning of this body and your consciousness that work together simultaneously, hand in hand, and the joy and the love and the healing and all of this amazingness that you and your body should be working together like a hand in glove. That's how we should be. And it's becoming harder and harder because of the darkness that knows this, and it works 24/7 to try and make you sick and ill, so it can feed from your energy of fear, worry, which that's what they feed from. So if you really believe in darkness, if you really believe that there is negative forces out there, if you believe that there are monsters trying to feed from you, well, the least you can do is try to stop feeding them. So every time you have a bad thought, tell your mind to shut up. Just shut up. You serve no purpose apart from crossing the road and looking left and right. So just shut up. Stop putting bad thoughts in my head. I want a clear mind, clear thoughts. Your mind will say, shut up. And I'll argue back at you and tell you to start to worry or fear or think about the time and all this construct. Just tell you to shut up all the time, like I did. And eventually your mind will shut up, because your consciousness will be stronger than your mind. But right now I see that your mind is stronger than your consciousness. So it's something for you to work on today, which I work on every day. I always check in on it. I'm sending you a massive hug today. You're amazing. And I'm going to leave you where I am today, as I promise to always, wherever I go in the world, to take you with me. So have a coconut with me and just enjoy ballet in this moment, right now, in real time, with all Mother Nature, what little is left of the real ballet. Okay guys, happy Valentine's every single day of your life. From my heart to yours, have a beautiful day. Take care.